What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDontWorkHereLady. Alright, this story's called Woman Just Scream, Hit an Officer and Try to Run, Just Because She Think I Work in the Kiosk. Hello there, this is my first time posting something on Reddit, and the reason is my girlfriend thinks that there was a funny moment on our trip and she introduced me to this, and now I see. I've never seen such a perfect place for this story. And sorry for my English, it's not my first language, so if you see any errors, I'm sorry. A little context. I work as a federal officer in a state capital, save that information, and for that, I always go on a trip to a beach in the month of March, because it's my vacation month and it's not so hard to look around for a trip, I don't know, making it a lot easier to find a house to rent. I don't know if other countries are like that, but here we can rent a house for a few days or weeks for only for trips and stay. It's cheap and more private than a hotel. On that trip, I was with my girlfriend, who I will call girlfriend here because my creativity is so bad that I can't think of a name by now. My friend from work, who will be Miss Guy because he only arrived in the place on the next day, and the sister of my girlfriend, who will be girlfriend's sister. P.S. This happened last year, before this Modella thing. Now to the story. I was chillin', waiting for my girlfriend and her sister to come back while I'm playing a match of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, and she looks like a Karen at first sight. The blonde hair, the black glasses, and the noise she makes with her brat kids. She was trying to put sunblock on the kids. Maybe they were 6 or 8. I don't know because I don't really want to know anything about them. Who were screaming because they didn't get to go to the water as soon as they came in. I was a little annoyed because they were really close to me, but I just get up and go close to the water after I lost that match. Don't judge. I'm awful at games that don't have guns. To look close to the sea and try to find my girlfriend when I felt something touched my shoulder. When I turn around, the mother was a little close to me, and this conversation happened. Hola, posso te ajudar? I don't, ajudar? It's a little too Arab with the pronunciation. Hooter, ajudar. Hi, can I help you?
What? Stop speaking Spanish with me and talk like a normal person.
I'm not trying to take that personally. Sorry, miss, and it's Portuguese, not Spanish. But again, how can I help you?
Little rude, don't you think? Well, can you please grab some tables for me and my kids? We want to sit and eat something.
Lady, I think you got something wrong. I don't work here. Now that I think about it, I am a black man, large with some muscles and a tribal tattoo on my back and a face of some kind of gangster. I don't think I'm the most nice looking guy to work with people, but somehow she gets out of nowhere that I work there. But later, I find out the reason. When I was about to get yelled at for not doing my work, my girlfriend shows up. I'm not even gonna, okay.
Tá tudo bem por aqui?
I don't know.
Is everything okay here?
In Portuguese? Yes, babe. She just confused me as one of the boys who work at the kiosk. The entitled mother then has a break, just for no reason.
What did I just tell you about speaking that language with your customer?
Miss, this is another country. Maybe we're from the same continent, but not the same country. And my girlfriend doesn't know English. And I just say that I don't work here.
What do you mean by don't know English? Is she just too stupid to learn a simple language?
At that point, I am mad. See, I don't care if you're gonna insult me, beat me up, or even shoot me. But man, don't be a butthole with my girlfriend. Look, if you're gonna talk crap about her, maybe you should go and love yourself hard enough to maybe develop a functioning brain and start to know that this is another place.
How rude!
The entitled mother goes away, and my girlfriend hugs me, because from what I heard, I was pure anger and wanting a head or a hug, I don't know. After a few minutes, the entitled mother came back with the manager of the kiosk.
Him! The black guy with the glasses!
Miss, I don't think he works here. The entitled mother just cut him off. Like, screw that information.
He was rude with me and just told me to go love myself. Is that the way you train your staff?
Then the manager says in Portuguese, "Man, you really tell her to go love herself?" I just nod, saying in Portuguese, "You better bet your ass, lady, I can't fire him." Entitled mother looking a little more red.
Why not?
Because he doesn't work here, lady. The entitled mother is now furious. I think she has a brain that only works when people say yes to her, and when things don't happen as she wants, she just freaks out.
What did you mean by that? You really are trying to save your lazy employee. You all
N-words. Yes, she said the N-word.
are all the same.
Now, remember when I said I was a federal officer? So that came really in handy when this story got nuts. The manager was trying to calm her down, but she just screams and screams like a banshee with another banshee on a call. It was so loud that it called the attention of two officers who were doing their patrol along the beach. The officers try speaking to her, but she was just mad and would go in my direction and try to hit me with a slap, and my only reaction is to throw her down and make an immobilization move. She just screams, "Assault!" when I was trying to abuse her. The officer was ready to make me go away in the patrol car when I just pull out my badge. The woman saw the cops doing nothing and goes pale when they tell her what I do for a living, then tries to make some excuse like,
It's a fake badge, and this N-word,
yep, N-word again,
can't be an officer.
She ended up handcuffed as the two kids were crying about how the evil man hurt their mama. As a result, I got free fries for the trouble and gained a story to tell. My man, teach that stupid Karen lady not to mess with people just trying to mind their own business. Whew. This story's called, You Want to Complain to the Store Manager and Get a Worker in Trouble? I don't think so. Not sure if this is the right sub, but here it goes. Here is the cast. Kevin, me, Deli Worker 1, Deli Worker 2, Store Manager. This happened a few years ago, so I don't remember all the details, but here it goes. Now, I have a seasonal business, and many times my wife will call me with a mini order to get at our favorite grocery store. This day is no exception. On this particular day, I'm getting tonight's meal from the deli, and it's close to the time when the workers there are near the end of their shift. As I walk up, I hear an older gentleman, Kevin, is complaining to a deli worker that he can't find what he is looking for. Well, the deli worker explains that he's new and isn't sure where it is and says he'll get someone who can. Kevin gives a grunt, and the worker goes and talks to an older lady, Deli Worker 2. Okay, the voices are just ignore the voices at the beginning. Deli Worker 2 comes to Kevin and asks what he needs. She tells him to follow her, and she leads him to a chilling island near the deli. He replies, "Well, it's about time." I don't know how long this may have gone on, but I get the impression it wasn't very long. So the Deli Worker 2 gets to the location where Kevin's product is put. She looks and then turns toward him and apologizes that they are out of stock. At this, Kevin stomps and says that she is a terrible employee for not getting him what he wanted. And as all Karens and Kevins do, he threatens to go to the manager and have her fired. Then he storms off. This leaves the poor lady visibly shaken and in tears. While this was happening, I picked up what I needed but stayed till the matter finished. Due to his agitated state, I was concerned for the employee's safety. After Kevin had left, I made sure to talk with the store manager about how another customer had left one of his deli workers in tears. He was clearly concerned and immediately headed off towards the deli. At this, I took my purchase home. Approximately 18 months later, I ran into Deli Worker 2, who still works at the deli. I mentioned how bad I had felt for her and that I had wanted to make sure she didn't get into trouble. She looked at me and said,
That was you?
I replied, "Yes, ma'am. I just didn't want to see you get into any trouble." Well, she thanked me and told me that that particular customer was known for such behavior, and because of my report, the manager had banned Kevin from the store. While I don't like to see someone get into trouble, even if they truly deserve it, it felt nice to know that I had done something to help out. That is so nice, OP. I'm sure that deli worker really appreciated it, and freaking thumbs up for that valuable connection you've made. Who knows how much a deli worker can get done for you? Probably a lot if it involves meats. This story's called, This is a Ranch, Not a Gas Station, but please wait here until the sheriff arrives. To set the scene, the area I grew up in was very sparsely populated cattle ranching country, often with more than a mile between houses and dozens of miles between anything that might even superficially resemble a town. This story takes place well before the era of cell phones. The remoteness of the area meant that if anyone should have car trouble, they would be forced to go to the nearest ranch house for help. Keep in mind, these were ranches that ran cattle, not businesses open to the public, but people were friendly and would invariably go out of their way to help anyone who is reasonable and polite. Unfortunately, not everyone qualifies for that description. Late one night, when I was about 15, my family was awoken by the sound of a car horn extremely close to the house. We got up and stumbled outside to see what was happening. We were greeted by the sight of a trashy car right at our back door. Given the layout of the yard, this should have been damn near impossible. An older lady staggered out of the car, drunk as could be, and began to yell at us about our terrible service. My dad tried to calm her down enough for her to explain what she was going on about. It seems that she was driving home, realized that she was running low on fuel, and needed to find a gas station. Miracle of miracles, this gem of humanity saw the lights of our property from the highway and made her way down our long driveway toward us. And saints be praised, there were tanks of fuel all about the garage and shops. In her drunken stupor, she somehow looked at an assortment of ordinary ranch buildings and thought, "Ah, yes, gas station!" She went to several of the pumps and tanks, but was flummoxed to discover that they were all either locked or wouldn't turn on, because gas theft is a thing. Enraged, she went in search of the office so she could scream at the manager for this terrible service. But rather than simply stagger around on her own 2 feet until she found that office, she chose to drive around. Finally, she found the back door of our house, assumed she'd hit the jackpot, and started in on the horn. No matter how many times we told her that we were not a gas station and did not sell gas, she continued to yell and scream incoherently at us that we were. Ever tried to reason with a raging drunk? Yeah. My father instructed me to call the sheriff while he stalled for time. Knowing the drill from TV, I took note of the car make and model and license plate and relayed that when I called. The dispatcher ran the number and told me my information couldn't possibly be right. I went back out to verify and came back to tell dispatch that I was correct. Whoo boy, it turned out that Our Lady of the Perpetual Inebriation had switched plates on the car, and this really fired up dispatch. I got the impression there were links to other offenses. I was right. Dispatch told me that they were sending a deputy immediately, and he would be out to our place in about 25 minutes. I discreetly relayed this to my dad, who proceeded to put on a masterclass in wasting time. After about 10 minutes, however, the drunk woman was frustrated and wanted to drive out. My dad didn't like the idea of this insensate lunatic doing any more driving around our breakable stuff, so he got behind the wheel and, slow as can be imagined, steered the old heap through the hazards of the yard and back out to the driveway. See, her initial entry into the yard was fraught with peril. Looking at her tire tracks, we saw that she came just inches from hitting the house twice and miraculously missed plowing into our wellhead by what could only have been millimeters. Any of those impacts would have been ridiculously expensive to fix. And as it turned out, this old broad didn't have insurance. Talk about dodging a bullet. The old dear was screeching endlessly about still needing gas. So my dad pulled in front of one of the pumps and pretended to pump gas in the slowest way possible. I was still on the bench with dispatch, running outside for stuff like getting a better description of her and then coming back to report. Finally, dispatch said their officer was just about to our place. My dad and I were pretty pissed at this point. If the officer arrived while she was still on our private property, there likely wasn't much for him to do other than escort her off. But if they were to catch her on the highway driving drunk, our highway was so deserted that one could sit by it for an hour or more and not see anyone on it. And there was literally nothing for her to hit near the road, even if she careened off at 100 miles an hour. The only person she was likely to hurt from heading out again was herself. So my dad told her he'd filled her up at no charge. He hadn't given her a drop of fuel and sent her on her way. I told dispatch which way she went, and in under 2 minutes the deputy had her pulled over. Our involvement in the case stopped there, but between the court notices in the paper and the small town gossip wire, we found out that that the lady got into a mess of trouble. In addition to the drunk driving charge, which stuck, and not having insurance and the license plate thing, she was wanted for a number of previous offenses. The whole thing snowballed into one big pile, and the courts decided to give her a nice long vacation behind bars. Maybe if she'd listened to the first time we told her that our home wasn't a gas station and we couldn't sell her gas, things would have turned out differently for her. As it turned out, there was one less drunk driver on the road for a while. Let's call it a win. Yes, that is an absolute win. Freaking drunk drivers make me sick, because so many people die from idiots being drunk and driving. So I'm glad that she freaking, got caught red-handed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.